Hello guys, this is Avcoor, bringing you some more Archeland content. I actually want to talk about this guy Kabir. I have to say it, and I'm really interested in this character, and I hope to get him. I was actually looking to get Nola, but that fell through. But I'm kind of excited that this guy came back around. I'm actually more interested in him than the new characters that are coming out. I'll explain why that is. First of all, a lot of people say Kabir
타로
is not
세상에서
good,
모르는 사람이 없는
and that would be a
애물단지
horrible mistake.
유라광이 바로
He's
나야?
kind of a sleeper unit. First of all, you would think that the comments they say about him that he's a DPS, that's a tank, and he's a warrior, but he has tanking skills. The thing about it is his kit is supposed to be used in a certain type of team. And outside of that team, he will suffer and he will be the character that everybody criticizes him to be. So this is true. But inside the team where he functions, he's pretty amazing. So let's look at his stat line, as this is the place where we always should start with our videos and describing the character. And you'll notice that being a dark unit, his stats are off the charts. But they're focused in two main areas, and that's physical defense and HP, which are stellar, and he has like some of the highest stats in these areas, and probably one of the best HP stats I've seen in a long time. So for someone so scrawny, he can take a hit, which is really weird to me, but that's okay. And his physical attack is B, which is okay. His kit will fix that in his unique passive. The two concerns I do have with him is being a dark character, you think his stats would be a little better. I, for one, would think that his magical defense would be B, and that's not the case, which I'm so sad about. And his concentration should be B, which I'm really sad about as well. Because he has DPS potential, this concentration hurts him because crits actually matter in this game because they're very effective. But when we look at him, he's a dark tank. He has a sword and shield, so typical of a tank. His darkest element is his strength, as he in PvE content where he is very viable. He will not take extra damage. Light units are pretty rare in PvE content, so he won't suffer there. But in PvP, he won't suffer as much as well. There's only a couple of prominent light units, so it won't be too hard on him. But you have to keep that in mind when you use them, as mono light teams will become a big thing soon. But anyway, Will of the Leader is a unique passive that will fix a lot of his deficiencies. In the event of attack, physical defenses in combat are increased by 20%. This is good. You always want a 20% increase. I wish it was 20% damage reduction, but that's okay. This is one of the reasons why later on he will fall off, because we'll have like units that'll come with damage reduction, pure DR on both sides in their kits. But this is the more interesting part of the kit, increasing damage to subjects with debuffs by 70%. This is amazing, and this fixes his DPS problem, as we will show you team comps that allow him to consistently get this effect. So when we look at his skills, they actually synergize pretty well. Some people may say there's deficiencies in this, but there's not, because this passive really fixes that, as he'll get like a raw damage increase. This is insane. For him to get 70% damage increase, that's insane. But this is at max stars, so 40% at level 3, which most people will be having him at, but that's pretty good. So let's go into his traits. Oh, let's go back, because his guard skill is not in his traits. So let's go back. Let's go right back in
타로
here.
세상에서 모르는 사람이 없는 애물단지
So
유라광이
Guardian
바로
of Silence
나야?
is a really good two guard skill. When the ally is within like one, he gets the passive guard. His escort range increases to two, and he gets dragon flame. And Dragon Flame does one specific thing, which is really good. Gives you a random debuff before battle. So in PvE, this is really important, as you'll consistently be able to debuff your opponent. So now we can go into traits. This guy has really good passives. He's got three good, really one one star passives. This is, I think, one of his best ones. He's got two that really stand out. This actually gives exhausted on one unit after his turn ends, which is pretty good. Which drops the P and M attack by 20%. That's really good. This is actually really good. This is Thorn. It does fixed damage to the opponent when they do a melee attack. So this is really good in those mob battles. So I kind of disagree with the assessment people have on him. He's got a really good setup here. And he gets revenge, blow of revenge. Everybody gets this. And you can avoid counterattack. More offensive. Erosion of Darkness. This is where his stats kind of fail him. This is a really good skill, but he cannot consistently crit because his concentration is C. It's too low. So I don't really like this skill. This is really good. Just relax. But the problem with it is it's only like the first time on a turn. So it's the first hit you get DR 30%, but but consistently after that, this will not work. But it's good for the first hit. So if you strategize, then it's good, but I don't think it's necessary. I think the other two are really good and they synergize with this kit. Overwhelming influence is pretty good. I think this is like the second skill that you'll consistently have on him because it's stun. And stuns are really good in both PvP and PvE content. It's really amazing. Yeah, I kind of disagree with the assessment they have of him. PR Whedon, per Whedon. And we can go there and look at it, but I think that they're wrong. This is a really good. This is for PvP. This is his raid skill, so to speak. So when the more debuffs on the opponent, the more damage you deal. Pretty darn good. And the cooldown is 2, which is really good. Uh, you'll see that the cooldown is 3 here, and the cooldown is 2 here, and the cooldown is 2 here. And we'll talk about why this is really important because it hurts him in a way. And it's not his fault. I think it's the dev's fault on that one. So let's go to his equipment and we can go into why I think the devs failed. I got this weapon for some reason, by the way. I was just pulling and I got it. But anyway, let's change weapon. Let's initialize this off and let's go to pleasure, whatever that name means. It's kind of weird to me. So this is where Kabir kind of fails. His his exclusive weapon sucks. There's no way around that. When using an active skill, gain secret patrol. That's one turn. Counterattack range +1 when being attacked. Physical attack +15 cannot be removed or stolen. The problem with this is it only lasts one turn, and that's pretty bad. It's extremely bad, honestly. This is one of the weaknesses because, as I told you, his skills on his cooldowns are 2 and 3. So you have to use an active skill, and then you only get this from one turn. It's really not practical. It really sucks because these are good effects, but they only last one turn, so you can't really maximize their use. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But as far as team composition goes, he is in a really great spot. So we'll go to that. We'll go to glossary and go to heroes.
새로운 세계, 새로운 시작.
And Susan is his
내게 준
greatest ally.
신뢰가 내 옆에
She
동생보다는
fixes a
많아야 할
lot
거야.
of
보여?
flaws
내
in his
언니의
kit, as
집착은
she is
정말
able to
무서울
consistently
정도지.
debuff the ally on her unique passive alone. She's always going to debuff at least two people, which is amazing. So she's a big help. In fact, all the people in the Dark faction are a big help to him. His greatest allies are Dark faction like Hassan.
소망의 메아리
Yeah, Hassan is like a great
현실의
ally for Kabir,
실체
as he consistently has ways to debuff the opponent.
사람들은
It's like
너무나도
two
오랫동안
AoEs
억압되어
that do
왔어.
debuffs,
내
and they
너에게
have low cooldowns,
사람들을
so
해방할
he's
수 있기를
easily
바라.
one of his best assets. Even Bozeman, if you wanted
당신과
to, he
동행하는 것은
sucks.
제게 영광입니다.
And then you got Catherine,
유능한 인재라면
another amazing
알비스는
debuffer,
언제든 환영이야.
and she can produce mobs that take away the pressure off tanking. That's another great ally for him, and they share the color. So when you look at Susan, her leadership skill requires two dark units, and Kabir will always fill in one space, and Catherine can fill in another, and Hassan can fill in one.
소망의 메아리
Layla
내
even is
앞에서
actually good with
그렇게
him,
긴장을 풀 배짱이 있는
and
건가?
so is Alicia.
나 엘리시아는 케투라의 형제 그리고 미래의
Yeah,
유일한 월관왕이 될 것이다.
even Alicia is a great ally. So is Catch.
고개 숙이지
So
못.
is Richard if you want to play him in
기사의
PvP.
영광은 세월에 퇴색되지
But
않는다.
two tank
그대는 나
strategies are kind of hard to pull
레오나트가
off these days,
줄곧
so
기다려온 동료인가?
I wouldn't worry about it. But he wasn't being a pure dark faction anyway. Lots of debuffs pretty much helped Kabir out. So that was just theory crafting. You actually want him in a dark faction, and pretty much only in a dark faction. So we'll go over his equipment. I'll give my
이곳은
general
영역계
thoughts about it.
작업 부서다. 무슨 일이지?
His
먼저
equipment
회의 시간을
actually looks a
예약해라.
lot like Gabriel, in the fact that you want to build HP defense and magic defense. You don't have to really worry about physical attack as much, though you would like to invest in physical attack. When you look at his runes, he's got to survive because tanks actually are meant to soak up damage. And if they can't do that, there's no point of them being a tank. And Kabir has the stats to do that. His HP pool is so high that any investment into his magic defense goes a long way. So if you invest into his magic defense, it's not a waste. If you invest into his physical defense, it's definitely not a waste. So there's three stats you really need to focus on: HP, defense, and magic defense. And if you can't get the attack, that's fine. He's not the greatest offensive unit. His leader is unique passive helps, but if he can't take hits, then there's really no point of using Kabir. And Kabir is designed to take hits. So with that in mind, let's go into my general view on him. And should you summon him or not is a good question. In my personal opinion, if you have the resources, you should summon him. I'm going to summon for him because I've already dumped a bunch of tickets and hopefully I can get Kabir because long term, Dark is a potent faction. And if you can, you want to get all the Dark units that you can really, as they're going to be a lot rarer than light units. I mean, the core elements of the units, blue, green, and red, because the twins Susan and Susan are so phenomenal that any dark unit you pair them with is going to get a lot more mileage. So that's my general assessment. If you like my content, hit the like, share, subscribe button, and I'll get back to you. Have a great day, and goodbye.